particularly when you're feeling down, so many people think that they can just think their way through it.
Yeah, I was one of those people.
And the only thing that you can really do with your thoughts is accept them or refocus them on something positive or something that you can control. And if you can do that, great. If you're having difficulty with accepting your thoughts and emotions or with refocusing them on something, then stop trying to do it all in your own head and instead focus on doing positive activities or interacting with people who support you, or just leave your room. Like, I talk to so many students who are like, how do I study? How do I get more productive from studying when I'm in, from my apartment? I feel so unproductive. And the answer is like, well, stop trying to like study while you're sitting in bed in front of your TV. Like,
so true.
Those triggers are going to always be tempting you and make it harder to study. Like,
yeah,
there's nothing wrong with you. That's just how the mammalian brain works. Get out of your room and go to the library, and guess what? You'll find it much easier to focus and study, and there's going to be a thought that pops into your head of like, yeah, but I shouldn't have to go to the library. Well, guess what? Can you study really effectively from your room? Sure. Are you?
Yeah.
No? Okay, then go to the library.
Right. Yeah, that's so true, because you want to set yourself up for as much success as you can that way. So the library is that environment where.
But a lot of times people don't accept their own limitations because we stick the word should in there. And anytime you're telling yourself, oh, I should feel this way, or I should be able to do it, like, you're usually just berating yourself. Like,
wow.
It's not a useful word. So it's actually a really good shortcut is anytime you notice yourself saying, oh, I should feel this, or I should be able to do this, or whatever, like, just rephrase it as, oh, it would be nice if I felt this way, or like, I'm angry that I feel this way, or I'm upset with myself, or I'm disappointed, or I wish that I could do this.
Right.
And then that sort of allows you to stop criticizing yourself and instead make a more intentional choice.
Wow. Yeah. I guess like doing it like that allows you to take control of that in that moment instead of it being something that's like, oh, frustration.
Right. Yeah. I mean, regardless of, and this is something that people get confused about, acceptance. Like, regardless of whether you should feel a certain way, that doesn't change how you do feel. And when it comes to things like feelings, there's something you can't control directly. And for things that you can't control, the only like real path forward is acceptance. And acceptance means not saying, oh, that it should be this way, but simply recognizing that it is this way. Like, oh, I'm feeling really anxious.
Yeah.
Maybe you don't want to be feeling anxious. Maybe you wish you couldn't feel anxious, but like, you're still anxious. And all you have control over saying is like, okay, well, what am I going to do about it? And what am I going to do now? And the interesting thing about that process is the simple act of noticing how you feel allows the prefrontal cortex to down-regulate the emotional activity in the brain. So simply by acknowledging and accepting, oh, I'm feeling anxious, helps to reduce your experience of that anxiety. Though a lot of us don't take advantage of this because as soon as we start to notice our anxiety, then we judge and criticize ourselves for that anxiety, and then that starts to make it worse. But like, if you can just sort of acknowledge it and accept it for what it is, or at least acknowledge also your own judgment judgmental criticism of it, then that can get you back on the right track. Because again, your judgment and criticism is often an automatic thing that you can't control. Mm-hmm. All you can do is notice that you're doing it and say, okay, I wish I wasn't doing this, but I am. So where am I going to reshift my focus, or what action am I going to take, or who am I going to ask for help, or what can I change about my environment that would help make that happen?
Wow. Yeah. And that even brings me back to what you're saying about accepting limitations, like the fact that, and the fact that limitations aren't actually a bad thing.
Mm-hmm. Well, right, like sometimes they're a bad thing, but like regardless of whether they are bad or like unhelpful at the moment, doesn't change the fact that you have them.
Right.
You know, like I might not want to have this as a limitation, but again, that goes back to what I mean by acceptance. Acceptance, like I like to think of it in terms of basketball. If, you know, you're 5'6", you're not going to find it very easy to dunk on a 10-foot rim, on a 10-foot hoop.
No.
That's just a statement about reality.
Right.
And it's important for you to accept, that it's difficult and it would take a lot of work. That doesn't mean that I'm telling you can't work really hard to be an amazing basketball player, or that you will never be able to accomplish this. I'm simply saying, yes, it will be more difficult for you perhaps than somebody else who is, 2 feet taller. But that's just the way things are. What you choose to do with that information, that's up to you. And if you say, well, I don't care, that I'm short, it's still really important to me to be the best basketball player that I can be. Okay, great. Then, have that as a vision, have that as a goal, and you can be inspired by it.
Yeah.
But if you don't accept your limitations, then we're often very frustrated by them. Once we start to accept our limitations, they're often not so limiting, because usually it's not our limitations that limit us the most. It's our focus and rumination and anger and anxiety about those limitations that are causing the most problems for us.
Yeah, wow. Even what you said, even how you just worded that, in my brain I was like, oh my gosh, that makes so much sense. I was just thinking about something and I was like, oh yeah, okay, that limitation, that's actually helpful that I accept that it's a limitation, and that actually produces so much more positive emotion.
Yeah.
Because then it's
once you accept what you can't do, okay, it frees you up from having to worry or focus on that, and therefore you can devote all your energy to these other things that you can do or that you are good at.
It redirects you into action instead of wishing and being frustrated and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Which I guess ultimately would allow you to feel more in control of your life, you're focusing on more things that you can control, which would improve your state, which will improve what you do next, and upward spiral.
Yeah.